The Georgia Medical Cannabis Commission recently handed out licenses to the first group of medical marijuana growers in state history. But that announcement was quickly followed by 21 protests from companies that question how those proposals were scored.
While the protest continues, senior I-Team reporter Dale Russell did his own investigation, finding one winning company's ties to a public corruption case in nearby Florida.
Real estate developer J.T. Burnett leaves federal court in Florida just days before a jury convicted him on public corruption charges. Next to him, his wife, Kim Rivers, the CEO of the medical marijuana company Trulieve Cannabis Corporation.
I'm glad we've arrived at this, as Danielle says, historic moment.
The Florida public corruption case began just 12 days before the Georgia Access to Medical Cannabis Commission awarded Trulieve one of Georgia's first ever licenses to grow medical marijuana. Kim Rivers was seen at her husband's side throughout the trial. After weeks of testimony last Friday, a verdict, as reported by WCTV.
As businessman J.T. Burnett is found guilty on a handful of charges.
The key evidence in the federal case was recordings made by undercover FBI agents. The U.S. Attorney's Office alleged J.T. Burnett made payments to a county official to help kill a development deal by a competitor. The I-Team has obtained copies of transcripts of those undercover tapes, and in them, J.T. Burnett speaks openly about how he and his now wife, Kim Rivers, CEO of Trulieve, worked together to obtain one of the first medical marijuana licenses in Florida for Trulieve. In one transcript, Burnett described his now wife to undercover FBI agents as one of the most powerful political people out there. And if you're with the wrong side of Kim Rivers, it's like punching somebody in the... It's like punching a gorilla.
She's ruthless as a business owner, and sometimes you have to be that. But I think
Joshua Luttrell is CEO of Veterans for Cannabis, a longtime advocate for medical marijuana, and now a member of a group that failed to win a license in Georgia and has filed a protest. J.T. Burnett told undercover agents about how years ago he and his now wife saw the value in obtaining a medical marijuana license in Florida. We didn't know how to grow marijuana, he told the undercover FBI agent. All we knew is that 5 licensed marijuana in Florida, real valuable. We didn't have to know anything more than that.
they didn't know anything about it, but they knew they had to be a part of it.
Burnett later told undercover agents when Florida legislators created the new medical marijuana law, he and a former Florida state legislator made little tweaks that give you some advantage to the marijuana legislation.
There's a track record. They've done it in other states. We have to make sure that it did not happen here in Georgia.
Trulieve now operates in 6 states. Burnett is not listed as an officer on Trulieve's SEC filings, but on their state application, he is listed as co-owner of a construction company that Trulieve paid more than $100 million to during 2019 and most of 2020.
You know, if they're using a vendor that now has a conviction for a federal crime, that should be a huge issue and should be an automatic disqualifier.
Trulieve's medical marijuana application in January, which is heavily redacted, warned of an ongoing investigation in Florida related to alleged corruption by local officials, but it did not mention J.T. Burnett's public corruption trial. Trulieve wrote to say the Georgia application did not mention Burnett because he's not a part of our corporation and has no role in Trulieve Georgia operations. The Georgia Cannabis Commission selected Trulieve for one of the 2 large production licenses right before Trulieve's CEO's husband was found guilty.
They had the ability to recall that and not issue that license out based on additional information that's come up after the application process is closed. So, you know what? They should.
Trulieve wrote to say that neither they nor their CEO were a part of the Florida case. They said it would be inappropriate to comment because it has nothing to do with them. We reached out to the Georgia Cannabis Commission and didn't hear back from anyone. Dale Russell, Fox 5 News.